Hi pals, it's me, RT then in pronouns only, and I'm disabled. Surprise! I have already filmed this video once, but my microphone died 10 minutes in, and apparently when this is all set up, it doesn't record any audio. So I was already devastated when I thought the audio was going to be shitty, but no, even worse, there is just literally none to work with. Not in a good mood, but I have put myself together to look like this to do a video. Here we go again, I guess. I've always been a more alternative leaning person when it comes to a sense of style. I enjoyed experimenting with my outer appearance and style for many years. I have dyed my own hair since I was 13. I have a few piercings, though, that's still pretty minimal compared to what I had planned for myself when I was 15 years old. And, I have a handful of tattoos. Plus, as well, the clothes I wear and the accessories I like to choose. I have been and am drawn to various styles under different alternative subcultures. For me, mostly it's grunge, vintage 90s. That's always been something that I have leaned more towards or preferred. And if I'm looking to be more formal, then I tend to go for a more dandy appearance. And one thing I have realized, I've realized this in other settings as well, but realizing it in this particular setting in the last year has sucked. But disabled people can't have shit. Starting with the piercings I do have, I have had 3 lobe piercings on each side. I am allergic to most metals, and that also goes for what glasses I wear, what they're made out of as well. For any metal in or on my skin for long periods of time, it's always the more expensive metals like silver, gold, stainless steel, platinum. Not that I've ever actually owned anything made of platinum. I can't just pick up a pair of earrings from Etsy, for example, or an independent shop in town. And same for glasses, which glasses manufacturers don't actually think about this literally at all. How do I know? Well, because I didn't think this was a issue I ever had to worry about. Can you also see like red tear tracks down my face, or am I just unable to use my eyes? A few years back, I had a pair of glasses that would, sometimes sit on my cheek. It's something that I've been used to with most glasses I own. They can't get them to fit my face without them constantly sliding down my nose. So a lot of the time, my glasses will or do touch or sit on one of my cheeks. And this one particular pair of glasses ended up basically burning my skin because I was allergic to whatever metal it was made out of. But when asking at most opticians or anywhere that does sell glasses, they just don't have any information on what materials the glasses frames are made of, and if they do, they aren't specific as to like what section they're made out of, because obviously it's not going to be a big deal if it's just the hinges here that's made out of metals I'm allergic to, but it does matter if here, or maybe even like if they touch on your face on the side. They don't have that information, and if they do, it's also hard to find. I actually forgot to ask about this pair, but luckily I seem to be fine. But it did take a while for me to find a pair of glasses before this pair that were the style I wanted, the color I wanted, and they just didn't burn a hole in my face. So I've got the same issue with piercings and other jewelry as well. Like I said, I had 3 lobe piercings. First ones were fine. The second ones took a really long time to heal. And actually, I think this side has healed itself over now. But then my third ones just wouldn't heal, were always red and infected. Like small knocks would set them off again. And it got so bad at one point we had to basically dig the back of one of them out. You can still feel that scar tissue on my ear today. And also, whilst my septum has been a lot more chill, was a lot more chill when I first got it done, is one of the most easy to take care of piercings. All of the places I've had pierced shrink really quickly if I'm either not wearing jewelry or not wearing like a thick enough type of jewelry for long periods of time. I've had a couple of earrings I liked that were thicker that I can't really wear at all because it would always set my ears off again, because you're basically re-stretching that hole, and it's basically the same for my septum. I used to have a couple of thicker nose rings, but moved to my hinge clicker because they're just easier to take in and out, particularly as I have so many fucking MRIs. But when I have tried to put in my old jewelry, it is just so painful. Yeah, annoyingly with EDS, these are things that happen a lot. And also a commonality with EDS is allergies in general, whether it's MCAS or specific allergies. But also I don't really wear my earrings anymore because I used to wear them basically 24/7, but at some point I think it's just something that happened to me, that once I realized I was autistic and all of the things that I had been ignoring that were just sensory hell basically were no longer possible to ignore anymore. So unfortunately the backs, like earring backs, were one of those things. I fucking hate butterfly earring backs. It's really hard to find other options, as well as when you're looking for specific metals. So whilst I do still wear my earrings sometimes, I just basically don't wear earrings anymore because of that. And yeah, like I said, that's why I've changed to this particular kind of nose ring, because for the most part it just stays in all the time and I don't really notice it. It's not really a problem. It is a problem in the sauna and steam room though, because that place gets hot. Even these fun things disabled people are just not allowed to experience in the same way as non-disabled people. When it comes to tattoos, EDS and MCAS or allergy related things can also be an issue too, particularly if you have skin allergies. But also being a fat person, being soft, whether it's because you're fat or because you have soft skin or a combination of the two, also all of those things impact tattoos quite a lot. I have personally found that most tattoo artists, even if they are very experienced, don't actually have a lot of experience specifically with EDS skin. You'll have better luck finding a queer tattoo artist, honestly, because most queer people have EDS. Because most queer people are ADHD and or autistic, and they are all comorbid with each other, basically. But yeah, regardless of if I saw an apprentice or saw somebody who has been tattooing for many, many years, I've kind of had the same handful of problems until a bit more recently. But most of my older tattoos blurred a lot faster than you would have expected. My crescent moon blew out right away, which can be kind of a combination of things. You can't really work out what was the one thing to cause a blowout, but it's pretty well known to be like a combination of thin stretchy skin, which is, this area is very thin skin and actually one of the stretchier areas of skin for me. And I do think the tattoo artist was quite heavy handed with it. We were at a convention, so time is money, I guess. And also my tattoo that was a tribute for my great granddad blurred very quickly. That was done by a tattoo apprentice. It didn't heal very well. That tattoo was the first time I'd used one of those stick-on clear patches, which are supposed to be good for people like me who have a suppressed immune system, because it's less likely for bacteria to get in underneath those stickers into a literal open wound. However, that's when I found out I was seriously allergic to them. Much like any other adhesives, I had not really put two and two together. So I had a pretty bad allergy reaction in the area, which would have made it worse. I was told more recently that all tattoo artists should be asking about allergies, but particularly like skin allergies. And I really don't think many people were asking me that question, because I don't remember like even mentioning this or talking about this. But obviously I didn't necessarily know a lot about my allergies until even maybe more recently, you know, thanks to that video where I explain more about some of my skin allergies and my urticaria. Didn't know that those things have an impact on tattoos, how they heal, how long they can last. And that's even if you're not directly allergic to the tattoo ink itself, for example. But yeah, also when I tried to take that off, it pulled out chunks of ink with the scabs. So there are patches where ink has just fallen out. I've not had anything that bad with any of my other tattoos, only that one. A couple of years ago, I spoke to some more experienced tattoo artists because I didn't know what to do about the tattoos that I wasn't so happy with. And one of the main things they said about the tribute tattoo was that the font itself made the tattoo even less likely to last long term. And when I got the tattoo, I did give some ideas, but I said generally that I want to make sure that we do it in a way that will help make it last for a long period of time, because I know that people who get the very, very light tattoos don't last very long at all. They need to be redone or touched up quite regularly. I was promised it would last a long time, but clearly not. It was, pretty quickly, honestly, because some of the ink had obviously spread already anyway, and then it just kind of got worse with time as well. Basically, the discussion I had with a more experienced artist was that if I wanted to improve the tattoo, the best thing I can do really is just get it lasered off and start again. And laser tattoo removal is more painful, more expensive, and is quite a long process. And you'll spend a lot of that time with like half of a removed tattoo. So even though I now have this long laundry list of questions to ask tattoo artists, I did ask a lot of these questions to some of these other artists, and now I just don't feel like I can trust what anybody says. And for the moment, I have put laser tattoo removal on the back burner because of the things I've mentioned, and they look okay from afar. I don't really have the will or energy or money and time to plan for all of that removal. Plus, the area you've had the tattoo removal done needs to heal fully before you can tattoo back over it as well. So it's a long time. There's often several weeks, quite a few weeks sometimes, between laser sessions as well, because it has to heal fully between laser sessions. So boo hiss, it's not all fun. But I think my most recent tattoos, which are both of my aces and my 4, are probably the best ones I've had, besides the one on my ankle, which was from 2017, 2016, I think. Like, the ones on my wrists were done by somebody who has had a lot more experience of tattooing EDS skin, and they worked with a very fine singular needle. And yeah, I think, if you look really closely, yeah, there's probably spots where you could do with topping it up, but honestly, not enough for it to be worth going and doing that just yet anyway. I think they've healed quite well, and there's been minimal ink spreading. Part of me does sort of wonder if it's because of the skin, maybe, because it's not necessarily the inside arm skin, it's a little bit more outside forearm-ish. I don't know, it's like right on the border. But then, like I said, I feel like my 4 has done a lot better than some of my other tattoos on sensitive and thin-skinned areas. And when it comes to hair, this was sort of the thing that inspired me to write this video script initially. And it's also the reason why it's taken me some time to come to actually filming this video and why this video is quite emotional to film as well. Also, just generally the overall point of the video of, like, you know, disabled people aren't allowed to have nice things is why filming this video is hard, because it shouldn't be as difficult as what I have personally experienced, but it seems to be, and I want to know if that's like common among other disabled people, because it's not really something I've seen talked about very much. Moving on to hair, I have always hated going and getting my hair cut. I think, you know, large part due to autism, sensory things, also people trying to talk to me. I can't hear you. I've got auditory processing disorder. Shut the fuck up. Also, yeah, just not really being listened to when I ask for certain things to be done in a certain way with my hair. Common theme, really, among most of the issues I have here. People who are training to cut women's hair, becoming women's hairdressers, often don't even learn how to use clippers, and then a lot of men's barbers turn you away for being a woman, even if you have short hair. I have been charged £30 in women's salons for a haircut that would cost 15 in a men's barbershop, and also would take less time in a men's barbershop, especially if the women's hairdresser doesn't use clippers, because clippers are just faster. They're just faster to cut your hair shorter. I have also had my haircuts feminized if they're short or boyish looking. I also just feel like a lot of barbershops clientele are quite manky. Most of the time I've ever been into a barbershop, all of the men are sat with their legs as wide as they can possibly be, with their hand down their trousers. And I think we should start making that socially unacceptable. I think we should start, like, scaring men into keeping their hands out of their pants, you know? Cis men specifically, obviously, but I don't know, if you're a trans man doing that, I'll smack you on too. But then also, when I've looked into queer hair places, most of them are extremely expensive for the ugliest haircuts I've seen in my fucking life. Like, I'm very particular with the kind of hairstyle and color and cut and anything to do with that I want. So I don't want to go somewhere where their specialty is mullets, basically. But also, when it comes to hair dye, I have been bleaching and dyeing my hair since I was 13 as well. I have been doing it myself or with the help of a friend or a family member all of that time. I don't think I've ever gone to a professional for hair dyeing or bleaching until the end of last year.
And as I'm putting together the photos for this, I realise I look like the love interest in every John Green book. Like, tell me that's not Looking for Alaska. Or whatever this is. This is giving YA novel.
I changed my hairstyles quite drastically, in my opinion, from before the pandemic happened till like a couple of years in, I suppose. I was going from like quite a typical boyish haircut to 90s God vibes. And I just kind of wanted to get settled into my new hairstyle before I did anything else with it. But also, I was in the process of growing out past hair dye anyway. I was curious about what my hair was naturally looking like. Spoiler alert, very grey. I'm going to blame all of my grey hair that I have at 30 and a half years old on genetics, but also the chronic stress being a sick person in the UK gives me, specifically what the NHS does to me on a regular basis. So it took a while before I really wanted to dye my hair. I wanted to get the money pieces done because I did really like the e-boy, e-girl kind of fashion that came around in those earlier days of the pandemic. So I decided to just do it. I've bleached my hair many times, like I said, by myself. It's only 2 little bits of hair at the front of my head. And I'm about to explain to you why I am now growing out my money pieces, because all of what is coming up is what basically has led me to losing my mind. Also, speaking of, disabled people can't have nice things. Seeing as I've already been sat here for an hour filming this video with this necklace on and had a meltdown, this is now too heavy for me to wear for long periods, and it was starting to give me a headache. So that, and also rings are not made in normal like hand and finger sizes. I've basically never been able to find rings that fit me, even when I was skinny. So I also think the ring industry is violently fat phobic, because I literally still cannot find rings that fit. Extended sizing is like two more sizes, and they are still not big enough for like a normal finger. Like, everything's too big for my pinky. Most things only fit my ring finger or my thumb for some reason, and then don't fit those two. So, fuck the ring industry in particular right now. You are not letting me live my jewellery mask dreams. I can only wear thumb rings. So yeah, on with the story as to why I am now going to be growing out my money pieces. Doing them myself the first time was fine, a bit annoying. I did have help as well. Obviously, I had a friend at the time, but I think we bleached my hair 2 to 3 times and it went pretty well. It was still yellow, but that's kind of just what happens with my hair because it's so dark. But it was into the yellow where it was porous enough to take hair dye. I went home and I think maybe the next day I then put the hair dye in, which is basically where I first started. That you can see on this channel, the first time you see my money pieces is with my like turquoisey green blue hair dye in it, and that was fine and all, but like I feel like I've definitely grown out of that particular hair color. I used to wear it a lot at uni and like just before I started uni, and that was 10 years ago, girls. Just before starting uni was over 10 years ago. I started in 2015, so yeah, like 7 to 11 years ago. Feels like somebody else. I don't know who that was anymore. So like, yeah, I wasn't super keen on that color anymore, but it's just what I had to hand at home. And then I did go out and buy the bright electric blue, which I think actually is Schwarzkopf. I keep thinking it's just like a Superdrug's own brand, but no, it's Schwarzkopf. And I loved my life. I loved my blue hair. I loved when it came out and was actually looking kind of blonde, or when it was kind of like a goldy blonde. It is very hard to bleach money pieces on your own, because versus bleaching all of your hair, you can just cover your whole head with bleach. It really doesn't matter, right? Because that's the point. You're trying to bleach all of it. But when you're only trying to bleach the front, you need to protect the rest of your hair still somehow, but also protect your face skin from the bleach. So that's the part that was really irritating. Plus, it's hard to actually see anything when you're doing the part of your hair directly in front of your face. But I did it. It was fine. And I did keep doing the roots, but doing the roots was harder than just doing it the first time, because you always have to try to separate it from the rest of your hair. Honestly, doing the roots is like worse than any other part of your hair because it's touching your scalp. I often got scalp burns that had loads of like scabbing as well, but like it wasn't noticeable. It would just flake over the course of that first week. And also the process of dyeing your hair in general, especially as I've gotten more disabled over time, very common, is just that doing all of that stuff is very demanding on anybody's body, but it's worse when you're disabled. And I find it hard to have my hands above my head or up high for too long because of my takiyasus. And you always have to lean over the bath to wash it out or lean into the shower to wash it out. It's just a lot of work. I just basically wanted to try and find somebody who knew what they were doing to do it for me instead, as like a treat to myself, to make myself continue to feel good about myself, good about my appearance, because as they grow out, I tend to feel kind of crappy about my appearance, or just very aware of how much they are growing out. My hair grows very quickly. I need to get it cut every like four weeks because otherwise it just gets too long. So yeah, I was like happy to go every like 4 to 6 weeks or something to get it bleached, but also I didn't really want to have like I didn't want my all of my hair done. I didn't want to spend loads of money for just a small section of hair. A lot of places don't even have this option of doing roots for money pieces. The first person I spoke to offered to do it for £15. I ended up being sat in the hairdresser chair for 3 hours, which is longer than like, well, that's about as long as it takes for me to do my entire head by myself. She didn't wash and reapply it at all. And she sent me home with like really orange roots. They hadn't bleached evenly because she didn't use any heat to like even it out. Like basically bleach works with heat activating it. So like that's why you're not supposed to do your roots first if you're doing your whole head, because your scalp gets warm anyway, but also then gets hotter because of the bleach. So like if I had this particular time, I had my hair in foils in front of me, so the underneath part here was getting warm because it was touching my forehead, but the bit on top wasn't getting as warm as underneath. So up top here was orange and underneath was a very bright yellow. She didn't cover the full section that I had bleached. She'd left loads of it out. I then had to go home and try and fix it, which did work that time. I had a really nice sort of peachy kind of color to my hair. And yeah, because I had to go home and do loads more work to it, that just kind of defeated the point of why I had gone to a professional. I'd come here for somebody else to do the work, not for me to then have to go home and do the same amount of work, if not more, than if I just done it myself. And also there was some bleach leaking out of the foils and it was touching my forehead the whole time, which was really sore. And I did tell her, but she just kind of blew me off. After that experience, I let my hair grow out for a while. I wasn't going to try to do it myself again anytime soon, and tried to find somebody else who said that they could do it. But they then said that they could only do the money pieces as part of like a full head dye. So I think that was around £40. She didn't have availability for a long time. We had to chase her up a few times about it. So then by the time I actually was booked in, I also needed my grey hairs covering anyway. She also kept calling my hair black and talking about using black hair dye, black permanent hair dye. And I was like, no, don't do that. Just use a dark fucking brown like I do. Thanks. Both of these people also saw me in person before doing any bleaching to my hair. They could see my natural hair color, they could see my natural roots, and they both said that they could bleach it at least enough to dye it, and they both lied. Basically, they both just bullshitted me. When it came to it this time, she put the dark hair dye on first because the bleach takes less time, and I have no idea what the fuck she means by that because my hair is so dark, it takes bleach a while to develop my hair. Then the bleach was applied. She applied it better than the first lady did. However, when she was washing it out, she was like, it was like she was trying to rip my hair out. I didn't write this in my notes, but I just had a flashback of that. It was horrific. It was genuinely like she was trying to rip my hair out, which I don't think helped the state of my hair or my scalp after that experience, because like you're supposed to be quite careful with bleached hair, especially when you're bleaching very dark hair. So the fact that she was like practically trying to pull my hair out when she was washing it is like mental. I don't know why. I don't know why she did that. Like, she also ran some toner through it, but the roots were still yellow. So she did put some more bleach on, but it was still yellow when she washed it off again. But I didn't think it was too bad when I was there. Like, it's always the issue of like when I'm in their hairdresser's place, I can't really tell if it looks good or not. And I feel the same way about haircuts as well. It's usually when I'm like back home in front of my own mirror or after I've washed my hair, because oh my god, why the fuck do women's hair salons dry your hair like that? Like, why do they do that? Just dry my hair and let me fucking leave. Why are you giving me a Karen blowout, bitch? Who am I, Coconut Head from Ned's Declassified School Survival Guide? Go fuck yourself. Get off my head. She said that the rest of the bleached bit of hair, the bit that I'd done, had taken the toner really well. And yeah, it looked really beautiful. It looked wonderful. It literally looked so blondie silver that I've never had my hair before. So she just told me to like just put some purple shampoo in the roots that she bleached to bright fucking neon yellow when I got home. And this is where the issues just kept getting worse. I did it on a cycle. I washed it initially with purple shampoo. I then just applied it and left it there. I also used purple conditioner, and I did that on a cycle, and I left the conditioner in my hair. And then I used a hair dye the next day, and literally none of it was sticking to that root that she had bleached. But guess where it was sticking? To that beautiful silvery blonde rest of my money pieces. So like that's when I realized I basically would have to go in with more bleach to even just get it dyeable, to even be able to just dye it blue. Also, another note for this particular hairdresser, whilst the other one was like, we can't get it white, we can't get it white. The second one was like, oh, but I really like it blonde. I really like the blonde money pieces. So like her intention was also just for me to have blonde money pieces, but she couldn't even bleach my roots enough for me to even be able to dye it any other color. Hello? But yeah, basically they both of these women had not bleached my hair enough for it to be porous. Like in that stage, the only kind of hair dye that will stick is a permanent kind of hair dye, a more permanent hair dye, versus the bright colors that aren't permanent but can stick into your hair for a long periods of time if you have bleached it because your hair is porous. So yeah, it was also now like a very patchy purple by that point, because the intention wasn't to dye the rest of it purple. The intention was trying to neutralize the roots. And like, I just genuinely don't know how a hairdresser agrees to take on a client after seeing their natural roots, what their natural hair color is, and still not do the job right or like enough. But then also to give bad advice after. Like, did she really fucking think that I was gonna work, or was she just trying to say anything to get me out the door before I fucking realized what state she'd made of my hair? But she said to me the reason she wouldn't do another bleach was because she was concerned about breakage to my hair. And it's like, well, how did the rest of it get as light as it was if I hadn't bleached it more? Like, it makes no fucking sense. Initially, I was just going to redo the roots, but I noticed as I was trying to separate my hair to get ready to do my roots that she had dyed over a lot of the bleached section on the right hand side of my hair. So my money pieces were now also just wonky. No idea why she did that. Like, straight up, no idea why she did or would do that. So that stressed me out even more because not only were my roots a fucking disaster, but now my money pieces were also completely wonky. They were like off. And they were like, they've never been perfect. I'm not going to say they were ever perfect. They've always been hard to try and get even, but like they were so far off that I feel like I really probably deserve my money back, to be honest. So because she'd done that, that also meant that I couldn't not bleach down the length of the already bleached hair if I was trying to get them even again. But I know bleaching freshly dyed black or brown permanent hair, it doesn't really go well. It's definitely heavily advised against doing. And I didn't even know how much it would actually remove. Like, I'm pretty sure you're supposed to go and get an actual hair color remover rather than just bleaching. But that's, yeah, that is what led me to start writing this script, really. My scalp was fucked at the time. I'd had 3 bowls of bleach that I hadn't finished using because my hair had gotten in such a bad state before I had a chance to even bleach my hair more than like maybe once. Had to gently rinse all the bleach out. The brown was then bright orange, and then the sections that had already been bleached for a long period of time basically turned into that horrible stretchy spaghetti breakage that we were talking about. It was all a awful color. Everything dried solid and it was crispy as fuck. I had to like invest in fancy hair products to stop it from being so weak. And then I had a breakdown, much like the breakdown I had after filming this the first time and there being no audio after 10 minutes. And the only thing I could really think about was just like, this wouldn't have happened if I had just done it myself. If I just bleached my roots again myself, like I always fucking have done, I wouldn't have had to try to re-bleach stuff that somebody else had fucking dyed over with permanent dark brown hair dye, and I wouldn't have had to try and fix a shitty bleach job from somebody else as well. But like I said, I just wanted to save myself some time and energy and sort of treat it as like a nice treat for myself that helped me just feel a bit better about things in general. All of these anecdotes are basically just telling me that I can't seem to trust anybody to do their job properly. Also, after that, I left my hair for a long time. I left the front of it to grow out quite a bit. Like, there was a decent, like, maybe 4 inches, 3, 4 inches of growth before I tried bleaching it again myself. But that didn't go well either. For some reason, it didn't really bleach. It didn't lift very much in the virgin roots or whatever, and I was obviously still trying to deal with some of the fucked up sections, and it all just started breaking again and just looked awful. So I grabbed a more permanent hair dye that I still just had to hand that was in like a dark greeny blue, and used that to dye over the roots that I had just bleached because I just knew that there was no point in trying to continue bleaching it, especially as like it's just difficult to just do roots and avoid damaged sections as well anyway. So that was what made me realize that actually I just need to grow them out. If I want to have them again sometime, then I can do it, but I just need to grow the hair out and start again on fresh, untouched hair. And the thing that I just struggle with all of these kind of anecdotes is that it always becomes my problem when somebody else realizes they actually have no idea what they're doing and no idea what they signed themselves up for, or don't know shit about disabilities that affects the things that they are supposed to be helping with. Like I was really angry at the time, and I'm still angry at both of those hairdressers, honestly, and I'm angry at some of these tattoo artists as well, because this is like a symptom of a larger issue in our society, which, you know, that part I was well aware of. That disabled people don't deserve nice things, but also disabled people don't deserve to work if they need adjustments to be able to work. However, non-disabled people can often do what they like and just be really terrible at their jobs, regardless of what the job is, and just receive no kind of karma for that. They get away with it, even if they are dyeing your hair, tattooing your skin, and like with all of these things, even if it's not technically a permanent thing, it's something that is on display on your body and can't just be corrected a lot of the time. Like if somebody fucks up your hair, that's on your head. Like specifically for me, it was the front of my hair. So I couldn't even really hide it with like a hat or something because it was just the front of my head. Tattoos take sometimes months to fully heal before you could even go and get laser removal. A lot of piercings can often leave visible holes in your skin, or, like I said, have scar tissue as damage that people can't necessarily either like tattoo or pierce over, depending on where you've had those piercings. And just like all of these people are lazy and don't care and know they can get away with it, whereas most disabled people don't even get a chance to be in jobs, even if they have ridiculous amounts of expertise and experience. But like this also stings in a different way because obviously, for one, none of these things are cheap and they're not supposed to be cheap, but they also help us feel like ourselves, like our true self that we see or picture ourselves as. It's a way of reclaiming our bodies and our autonomy from the medical system, where most of the time our bodies are not under our own control and our consent is often never really regarded as something that they need to obtain before doing things to you. I get to choose what I look like, even if I don't get to choose what doctors or nurses do to my body. But even then, you don't even get that luxury. Professionals don't give you that luxury. You only get to be that and reclaim your sense of self and your body if you put in the work, or if you are lucky enough to know somebody who is good at doing these things, like personally, or find the one person who's actually any good at doing these things. But for the most part, it's the work that you have to put in to do your own hair, or have a friend learn how to do it for/with you, learning to ask a million questions and giving a million disclaimers to every tattoo artist you like to see if they might be able to do something for you, and on and on and on and on. I don't get to enjoy having funky hair. I don't get to enjoy decorating my skin with drawings. I don't get to enjoy different piercings or jewellery. These things as well are horrible when they go wrong. Like I said, they're very visible. Sometimes like medical care, but also a lot of medical care is invisible. But after it does go wrong, you are then forced to walk around with a constant reminder on your body, whether it's something you can feel because, tattoos, piercings, burning your scalp with bleach, painful physical sensations, or if you touch the fried hair, looking in the mirror, if people take photos, if people see you, they might comment on it. Sometimes you can dye it over, like I did with the time that I fucked it up, or you can cut a fringe, or for the more unhinged of us, just shave all of your hair off when it comes to hair dye in particular. But not always. There's not always something you can do. Like you have to wait for a tattoo to fully heal before you can even start the process of laser tattoo removal. And I just feel like it solidifies the fact that I can't trust anyone to touch my body respectfully, no matter what setting I'm in. I can't trust people to treat my body with kindness and care. I sometimes wonder if this is a trick that's just on me because I've not really heard anybody else talk about this issue. Does everybody else actually get what they ask and pay for? Or is it just me? Or are other people going through those things as well? And like on a really honest note, it just makes me really sad. And on a adjacent note to this as well, is this is also just proving another point that I see going around in particularly UK's media reporting on like disabled people and benefits and stuff is that this is one of numerous examples of how disabled people's benefits do go back into the economy. It's billionaires and millionaires and whatever whose money doesn't go back in the economy. They are literally just hoarding wealth. They're not really putting it back into anything. Whereas disabled people are using their benefits. They're using their benefits to survive. They're using it on rent, bills, food, travel, healthcare. But also, if we are using it on nice or frivolous things like any of these things that I've discussed, they are still going back into the economy because you're still using that money. Disabled people also use their benefits to pay for care. Like, all of that money is going back into the economy. It's a bullshit argument. And whilst that's not the original point of this video, I just wanted to include it. My main point is that for some reason, it, like, I don't know whether I am wearing like a sign on, do I have a tattoo on my forehead that says I'm disabled, fuck me up? Like, that's how it feels, because it's like people know that this is really important to me and I can't do as much as a non-disabled person to correct these kinds of things. And I just wonder, why don't people just admit when something is out of their skill set, ability? Like my friend Annie, who is a Sri Lankan woman, has really thick and dark hair. Like, we both have very dark hair. My friend went to a hairdresser and asked about bleaching and dyeing her hair, and the hairdresser literally just straight up said to her, like, just do it at home. Like, we won't be allowed to get it to lift enough to be porous for hair colors. You should just do it at home. So if literally anybody, if either of these women had just fucking said that to me, I would have been like, dope. I'll go home. Nice. I know how to do this. Like, like I mentioned earlier, if I've been able to do this, you can do it as well. You are just lying to me when you say that you can do what I've done. Why am I a better hair dyeing hairdresser, and why is my mum a better hair cutting barber than like literally any fucking professionally trained person I've come across? Yeah, like I don't know if this is maybe part of like as well another broader societal thing where people are just not trying. Like I feel like a lot of people in a lot of jobs are just not trying, and like I think in some jobs I'm like, yeah, it literally does not matter. Fuck your boss. There are certain jobs where it's like, you're fucking with people's appearances, you're fucking with people's well-being or access to important things in their life, and all you can think about is the sale over the end result that you're actually providing those people. So yeah, I'm glad I at least got through this recording, even though it's somehow longer than the first time. I didn't add, if anything, I didn't include as much as last time. I don't know how this video is somehow longer, but what the fuck ever. I was going to try and film 2 videos today, but fuck me, right? Don't forget to like the video. Let me know in the comments if you are also a disabled person who has come across any of these kinds of issues when just trying to feel a bit more like yourself, a bit more alive. Do people also lie to your face and then provide you fucking shit? Like, someone please tell me it's not just fucking me, because I'm exhausted. Yeah, go back and watch this video, which links in with this one, the chronic urticaria one, which is why I can't do a lot of things, because I'm just allergic to just everything, apparently. It supports my channel if you go and watch other videos, so that's a suggestion for you. And that is it from me this week, and I will see you next week. Bye.